There's the red button. Okay. Okay, hi Heather. Thanks for coming in. I'm glad you could make it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. This is what we're here for. Now, before I start, I just have to explain a few things. As somebody that works with children, I'm known as what's a mandatory reporter. So basically what that means is that if I feel that either a child or a young person is at risk, I need to report that to my superiors, and then we'll go through what the next steps are. I know it sounds quite serious, but it's just it's a blanket way of covering kids and making sure their needs are met first. Okay? Okay, so do you understand what that means?
Yes.
Seems okay?
Seems okay.
Cool. Listen, we're always happy to help and do what we can. I just also have to let you know, and this is, I guess, good for you, that anything we say in here is confidential. But as I said, as a mandatory reporter, the needs of children and young people always come first. Now, why don't you tell me what's been happening?
Well, I'm going to start again because I've lost my view.
No, just keep going, it's fine. So you should be up to the bullet points.
Oh. Well, I've got 4 kids, 4 boys.
Yep.
They're all at school. The ages are 10, 8, 6 and 5. I'm a single mother. I don't get any support whatsoever from my ex-husband.
So there's no support, no financial support, no custody?
No, don't even know where he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so my pension is the only source of income that I have.
Yep.
I've been living in the same rented house for 3 years and have had no issues whatsoever. The landlord's been absolutely fabulous.
Yep.
But he wants to raise the rent $100 a week, and I just can't afford that. I'm already paying $300, and I can't afford to pay the extra $100.
Okay. Well, that certainly sounds upsetting. Are you okay if I just take some quick notes, just so we kind of know where we're at?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and what I'll do at some stage today is I'll just fill out some what are called case notes, so we've got a very clear view of what's going on in today's meeting. Yep. And what we're going to do from today's meeting. Okay. So you say you're paying $300.
Yep. And
there's a rent increase of $100 a week.
$100 a week. So
it's a third of rent being increased.
I just can't afford it.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. And I understand, you know, you've got 4 kids on a pension with 1 income. $100 is going to be the breaking point. So how are you travelling with all this?
It's stressing me to the max.
Yep.
You know, he just sent me a note last week saying he was putting it up. It came out of the blue. There was no warning about it. Yeah, I'm beside myself. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and that's understandable. You know, what we often refer to is it's your living situation. You know, it's the most important aspect of your life and your kid's life. And you know, when people put that at risk, or a situation puts that at risk, it usually tends to create some issues other than the $100 a week, which is an issue in itself if you're only paying $300. What we can do is I guess we need to come up with a plan to see what we can do to make your situation a little bit more manageable. Why don't we get into the nuts and bolts of it? When did your landlord inform you of the rent increase?
Just last week.
Okay, so just out of the blue said, you know, I'm going to increase your rent
Yep.
from $300 to $400 a week. And do you know when it's due to start?
Well, he said at the start of the financial year, so it's not that far away.
It's in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, 14 days exactly. I've been looking at the calendar in a panic. Like, I'm just so worried that we're going to have nowhere to go.
Okay, so in a panic, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Just feels like I'm helpless and just stuck in a rut.
Well, helpless and stuck, that certainly doesn't sound like a good place to be when you've got 4 kids to raise, especially 4 boys. So how are the kids?
The kids are great, if not a little chaotic. Like, they're boys.
They're boys. Yeah. I certainly remember what that was like. I had 2 brothers and 4 stepbrothers when I grew up, and it was absolute bedlam, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, as a parent, you get used to it. You only worry when it's quiet.
That's what my mum said. That's the only time we got in trouble, when it was quiet.
Yeah, especially when the boys are quiet.
Yeah. So you say the kids are okay, so how about you?
I'm just worried all the time.
Yeah, and that's understandable. You know, I'd be the same way. I'm renting myself at the moment. I don't own my own place. From what you told me, I think I can give you some good news to get started. Well, I think what's easy, it's going to be easy for you if I explain exactly what I do here at Sunshine Community Services.
Yep.
Okay. My title is I'm a client case manager. So what that means is I oversee a client's case and give them support to meet whatever their particular needs are. Obviously, in your case at the moment, you've got a tenancy issue, and you've also got some stresses that are involved with that as a singular tenancy issue. We also advocate for our clients, and when we refer them to outside services, what we try to do is to work with you and to help you in order for you to achieve your goals.
I don't understand what advocate means.
An advocate, all it is, particularly in your case, it means that from what I'm gathering and what we're going to just about to talk about is I would be somebody that would come to Department of Fair Trading. Yeah. They kind of oversee tenancy as a whole. I'd come and support you actually face to face. So the 2 of us, when we do get a meeting with Department of Fair Trading, can go in because we understand, and we've had this in the past, that things like these tend to build up, and we find it's better to have somebody to support, somebody that can kind of help you get through the paperwork. We're not necessarily there as somebody that's making decisions for you, but you definitely can nominate me or somebody else from the agency that can act on your behalf, so can speak about your case basically. So it's just like having somebody on your side.
So what do you mean about a case?
Well, I'm not a tenancy expert, and I'll be honest, but a lot of this stuff's really freely available online, and I do know some things that a landlord can do and they can't do, and here's the good news. We can have some good news at least.
I'd like to hear some good news,
sure
please.
I'm sure you would. According to Tenants New South Wales fact sheet, which is a free service that looks to support tenants and support their rights, a landlord can at any time give you a rent increase, but a landlord has to give you 60 days notice before the rent increase begins. So you've only had 3 weeks for starters. So what he's done is actually do something that he's not allowed to. So that's going to reset. We're going to give you 60 days at least now to start again, because you can't say I'm going to increase the rent in 3 weeks. It has to be 2 months or 60 days notice. It also means, and this is much more important, your total rent of your property has to be equitable with another 3-bedroom house in your area. So say the houses in your area are only paying between $300 and $330, or $280 and $330 for a 3-bedder. You can't increase it to $400 a week, because it's outside of what they say on the fact sheet is the norm. So at the very least at the moment, we've got some time for you.
Okay, it sounds like I've got a bit of a chance of staying.
You do. It's complicated. The tenancy is always complicated, but for the time being, you're not going anywhere. You can't just, the landlord can't just come and take you out of the house because you refuse to pay the rent.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, and it hasn't worked that way for a long time, thank God. What we have to do is start looking at options that are going to help you be more safe in your living situation, because, you know, as you're well aware, you've got 4 kids. You need the kids to be stable. You know, you need the kids to feel like they've got somewhere. You feel like they've got a home. You know, it's not just about having a roof over your head. You need to support your kids and support yourself as well.
Yeah. So what do you mean? What?
Yeah. Well, the concern I have is that I'm really glad that you came to see me, But if somebody hadn't kind of told you that we were available, you probably would have paid the rent increase, wouldn't you?
Well, I would have, but it just would have been dreadful.
Yeah, yeah, and this is just what we've seen in the past, and this is what often happens. And then you would have kind of got yourself into that situation where you're spending more than was coming in, so you're falling into debt, which nobody really wants to be in.
And that's what I was really, really worried about, because I mean, I need to clothe and feed the kids. I need to pay the bills. With that $100, I can't do it.
Yeah, and I can imagine you were. The concern that I had when you started talking about stuff, this situation, is one of the most common situations for people to become homeless is their living situation becomes unaffordable. As I said before, what we try and do is empower people to get to the point where they're their own advocates. And what I can tell you is that we may have a program that would be suitable for you. Okay,
so to be my own advocate, that's to speak out for myself?
And to support yourself and to know what you're entitled to and what you're not entitled to, and what you can do for yourself and what you can do for your kids.
Okay, so what sort of program?
It's actually something that's quite new, so we don't have a name for it yet, but it's simply a program for single parents. It runs for 3 hours over a week, and we run it for a year, and I know it seems a long time, but at the moment it's covering a lot of stuff. Some of the earlier stuff is tenancy rights, funnily enough, computer skills, social outings for you and the kids, and parenting classes and health classes, cooking classes, all those kind of things that I understand that you've probably got a hold on a lot of these things, but certainly you could probably do with some knowledge on tenancy rights.
Yeah.
You know, and probably could do some support with computer skills, because I'll be honest, I could probably find this fact sheet in about 3 clicks of a mouse, and that's available to anybody in the state. It's not necessarily all going to be suitable to you, but would it be something you'd be interested in?
Depending on when the classes are held, it would have to be during school hours, because I wouldn't have any.
Oh yeah, we definitely run it through school hours.
Yeah, I think it sounds great.
Yep.
It does sound like a lot, but there's, it'd be really good to be able to understand how to work my way around a computer and especially my rights as a tenant.
Okay. So all the kids they're all of school age?
Yes.
Okay, so there's certainly some time available. There might be about 2 minutes available a week if you've got 4 young boys, I can see from the paperwork, from 5 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay, well speaking of signing, are you okay to sign a release stating that I'm okay to talk about your situation to some outside agency? Basically, as I said, I can't make decisions for you, but I need your permission to get on the phone and say, well listen, I've got a client, this is her situation.
So what sort of agencies?
Well, initially it's going to be the Department of Fair Trading, because they're going to guide me as to what to do, and then I'm going to pass it on, and then we'll get a meeting with them and go from there.
Okay, so, sure, sign me up.
Yep, okay. Now, as a more of a preventative measure, I think is what I'm thinking now. Have you heard of the Department of Housing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you got any friends in housing or family?
Yeah, my sister is, and the area she's in is not where I want to be.
Yep.
Not with the boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the kind of the stigma stuff, and the you know, you sometimes get areas of housing that aren't so great. Yeah, but listen, I can understand that. I'm kind of thinking on a different tact. What I was thinking, and I really think this is going to be a great idea, is so we've got your tenancy situation here. We need to probably get you in contact with places like housing and Homes Out West and Albury Supported Accommodation. These organisations, I think, are going to work as a bit of a stopgap and like a bit of a what-if situation. You know, I'm positive that you've certainly got plenty of time to contest your issues with your landlord, and I'm sure Department of Fair Trading is going to help you. But do you think it's a good idea that we kind of put all eggs in one basket, or do you think maybe just in case we need to get into contact with some other agencies and say, you know, here's my situation?
I think it might be a good idea to start contacting real estate agencies as well.
Yeah. Now you're thinking. So it's just the stigma of housing?
If I could go to somewhere that was like safe and not rough or whatever, I'd be
fair enough.
definitely happy with that.
So you understand how housing doesn't necessarily mean putting you in a house. They can support you in looking for accommodation, helping you with your bond. They may be able to find private rentals for you that they don't even give you any money for. It's just that you've got the support of housing before you. Like you've been paying rent for how many years, in private rental? Yeah, so this is not necessarily about you putting you in a department housing house. It's just about having more support, more people behind you.
Hadn't really thought of it like that. I guess I was just concerned about the dollars.
Yeah, and that's understandable. I would be too if somebody told me they're going to increase my rent by 30%. But don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to frighten you. I just think we just have to be aware of what our options are and what we can definitely look at as preventative measures.
Sounds like a really good plan, and I think I'm starting to feel a bit better about it.
Yeah.
That
Good.
It will be all okay.
Good. I think we're kind of getting a plan too, because I personally work better with a plan, and it sounds like that you're fairly well aware of what we're trying to look at. So what I'll do is I'll initially call, because I've got your paperwork saying that I can speak on your behalf. I'll call Department of Fair Trading. What I'll do when you leave today is I'll give you some phone numbers, but I'll definitely get you to call Housing New South Wales, call Albury Supported Accommodation Service, and call Homes Out West.
Okay. And so I'll just call them and explain the situation to them?
Yep, exactly the same way you have to me, exactly the same way.
I can't wait to call them. As you said, the more support the better, so yeah, it's going to be
good.
I feel better.
Good, I'm glad you feel better. I wouldn't want people walking out feeling worse. It's even better that you feel better, because we haven't actually solved anything. Because this is going to be a step of processes. It'll be one by one, but we'll do our best, and we'll get. And you're a big part of this too. There's no point in me doing it all. I really want to support you and you supporting yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh well, I work off lists with the kids, so I'm just going to attack us the same way.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So can we make another appointment for you to check in next week?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what I'll do in regards to our stuff is I'll gather some more information about the single parents program, and then we can go through that together.
That sounds good.
Excellent. Now, is there anything else you need to cover today, or are we done?
No, I am feeling much better and I understand it a lot clearer.
Yep.
It's really hard when you get stuck on a subject, and I'd completely forgotten that I had rights as a tenant and that there would be support available to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can understand that totally. I know the feeling of, you've got an issue, you've got a problem, you can't kind of see your way out of it, and it feels like it's all encasing, but sometimes all it takes is to voice it to somebody else, and they're going to open up other doors for you and then empower you and get you going to do what you need. You're not alone there. I'd say that's a fairly natural response is to have a really big issue happen and just get that fight or flight stuff. You're stuck in the headlights. But as I said, I think we've got a plan to start, and I think you know what you need to do, and I'll definitely get onto fair trading, and we'll probably have an appointment within a week or two. I would say there. When it comes to, and as I said, this is, I'm not trying to frighten you, but this is how people become homeless. It's one bill. You'd be surprised at the percentages of people you would think, people are homeless because they're on drugs or alcohol or gambling. They're not that great.
No, I'm not.
I don't imagine that you are, but people, sometimes have that vision in their head that, that's how you become homeless. But it's usually just one bill, and it starts and it rolls over, and we as an agency, and part of what I do is try and get that at the start so we can prevent that from happening. And I'm really glad that you came in today. And I'm just tell your friend, whoever they said come in, say thank you for getting me in there because, you know, we can certainly get through this, I think.
Yep.
Okay,
Well, it'll be nice not to have to stress so much, and I'll make those phone calls
yep.
as soon as possible and let you know what
Yep.
you have to say.
And any issues, just give me a call. If there's anything that you kind of don't understand, let me know, and I'll definitely see you next week, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more good news.
Okay, thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you. I've got a feeling that